Hey everybody, Scout Crafter here again. It's Wednesday. What a beautiful day, huh? Look at that. Sun's coming down at 7 o'clock, 7 p.m. here, and you can see how beautiful and still light out it is. I love this time of year. Let's go downstairs, see what we got. Okay, we're downstairs, and I'm still in the Memorial Day mood, I get very patriotic around this time of year, and I want to do something patriotic today, and another one of Brian Ohare's box of goodies. I found this in there, and I thought this would be fun, even though we did one not too long ago. I want to do it a little bit different. But before we start, I want to do a product endorsement. And I don't usually do product endorsements, especially since I'm not endorsed by anybody. But this is just, I've used this for years, and I thought it was so good. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Now, I know you probably thought it was going to be tool related or something, but I have to tell you something. Have you ever tried this? This is Aunt Jemima's complete mix, pancake mix, And I remember the first time I tried it years ago. The original mix, you got to add oil and an egg or something to make the pancake batter. This, you just add water. So I remember I was using it for the Scouts, actually, and we brought it down. I said I wanted to try it out, and I'm telling you, this stuff is great. In fact, I got used to it so much, I prefer this over any original mix or anything. This is like my favorite go-to pancake mix. If you've never tried it, I think you should try it. Let me know if you have tried it, what you think of it. This stuff is good stuff, I'm telling you. And nothing is hits the spot like a nice couple pancakes in the morning or something with some good syrup on it. I'm not crazy about their syrup. I like different ones, boysenberry or a nice syrup. But this is good stuff. If you want to treat yourself, get yourself some of this and give it a shot. Okay, for today's project. Now I know we did a hatchet not too long ago, but this was in Brian's box, and I, like I said, I get in the mood to do something. I saw this. I said, boy, I'd like to. I want to do something different with this, because I have a bunch of hatchets. Like I told you, I don't use these because having this thing, having this edge coming by your head when you're hammering, I never felt comfortable. But I do love the tool. I love a hatchet. I don't know why. I don't use them. So, this one here, you can see the handle's all buggered up, right? But I want to use this handle too. I just want to use this exactly like it is. It's got chips in the bottom. It's got a lot of issues here and splits here. And, the top here was, and you could see the rust over here, right? And, the pitting and whatnot. But we take care of that. And it was sharpened over here. Whoever sharpened it, was probably using some kind of file, whatever they had. But it's a plum. And I want to do this in a patriotic theme. I just want to... I don't know why. I just want to do it. So let's get to it. I think it'll be a lot of fun. Nice little project for today. And let's get started. Okay, we were successfully able to retrieve the hand. Now, this is a hard thing, and I wouldn't recommend this to anybody. The best thing is to cut it off and then just pound it out of here, but I'm the only fool that reuses handles, I think, in the country. Anyway, you see I drilled a hole here because that'll stop any splitting that'll happen in the future. But knock that wedge out, and there was also that, you saw that steel wedge, the screw wedge that was in there. Now, I don't know if that's factory from Plum. It's been in there a long time, you can see from the rust, but this is a screw wedge that screws in there, so you don't have to pound the steel. I don't know. Tell you the truth, not many companies use these. I don't know how good they were. We're going to go with my traditional wedging, but we're going to save this handle because, like I said, this is an old growth handle. This is a good handle. And then we're going to start working on this. Now look at this. Take a look at the pitting, deep pitting. It's not mashed up or anything, and it's in good shape, but, it's just rusted. So let's get working on it. Now here we're just about finished with the handle before we put any kind of sealant on it. First of all, you see what I did? I cut off about 1/4 of an inch off the bottom, and you can see this nice, beautiful, tight grain, and reprofiled the bottom here, and then everything has been scraped and sanded. It's a beautiful handle. There's no reason to change this now, you know, and all I have to do is make a new wooden wedge and then put a metal wedge, but we're going to seal this now with shellac. Okay, here's our first grind. This is with the 40 grit. You can see there's some scratches. We'll take those out with the next grit down, but we got all the rust off, most of the pitting. You could take it as far as you want, but I want to keep as much of the name as I could. So, but we did everything out, and now we just got to smooth everything out with the other pads. But the next step is to see the edge here is all buggered up. What I'm about to show you is going to go against everything that you've ever thought about doing. So let's check that out. Is that painful to watch? Okay, now we got that edge. Nice. You see? Now you can see it's, yeah, we took off that buggered up edge, and now we're going to sharpen it. But now we have a nice edge the way we want. And now we'll finish up, and then we'll hang the handle, and it's coming nice, right? Okay, we're going to take a dinner break for a little while, and this is as far as we're going to go as far as taking it with any kind of sanding grit or anything. Next, we'll just do a little polishing. Everything's nice. It's super smooth, no sharp angles. It's just, this is the way I want it. And I want to show you something really interesting is if you look at the temper line, you know, it's funny when you're going across here, you see this little line. You see that line right there? That's the temper line for the head. You see it right there? That's the temper line. Now the funny thing is, you'll be going out and you say, whoa, what's going on? Why is it? First time I did one, I was like, why isn't this coming out, you know? And then you realize that's because this is tempered harder than it is back here. It's a little softer back here, but that's the temper line. So don't try and get that out. That's, you know, that'll stay in there no matter how, but it looks nice, right? So now we'll go and we'll start working on the handle. Okay, I want to put a special thanks out to Brian Ohare for the simple reason that Brian gave me a tip that just worked out so great, and I wanted to share it with the rest of you in case you don't know about it. You know, I've been trying to hang hammerheads for quite a while, and just because you've been doing it a long time, it doesn't mean you're good at it. Remember, practice doesn't make perfect, but perfect practice makes perfect. So what happened was, whenever you were going to drive the wedge into the top of the hammer, a lot of times what you would do when you want to drive the head on, you would slam the back of the handle, and that inertia would make the head drive up onto the handle. Now, what I would normally do is if I want to drive the wedge in, I would put this on something solid and hit the wedge, whether it be the wooden wedge or the metal wedge, and I would do it that way. But every time you hit down, that inertia would drive the head up on the handle. So I was constantly doing this. I was banging it down a little bit, then turning it upside down, and you know, I was fighting a losing battle until Brian mentioned, he says, all you have to do is start the wedge, put it in, and then place it onto something solid, and I'll show you what he meant. Now what Brian meant was if you wanted to drive, let's say your wooden wedge into here, you place this onto a solid surface like this, then hit this down, and the inertia will keep the head tight to the handle, but will also, you can drive the wedge in that way. I tried it with this hatchet, and it worked fantastic. Brian Ohare, thanks so much for that. Now you know my favorite part. Remember what this hatchet looked like before we started. And we're calling this project done. I told you I was feeling patriotic, and this is the way I express myself with this hatchet. And let me tell you, this is just, I really enjoyed this whole project. First of all, you know, I like working with hatchets, but even though we just did one, but look how nice this this flag paint job came out. I thought it really came out well, and you know, there's 6 steps to doing a paint job like this. So first of all, I shellacked the wood, which seals the grain. Then I painted the whole thing white, and then you have to tape off the red. That's the third one. Then you have to tape off the blue, put the stars there, spray the blue. That's 4. Then you have to go over, because there's always some bleed through. There'll always be a little bit of paint that gets under the tape, and you have to touch up everything that got under. That's 5. And lastly, clear coat the entire handle so that there's you don't feel any seams between any of the, and clear coat it, and that's 6 steps. So, and on top here, I did the top. Now I put about 6 coats of linseed oil on here. It is so tight in here that I did this really well on this one, that I didn't even need the metal wedge, because it will never go anywhere. It's just super tight. It was a great handle to begin with. I did the bottom in a little bit of black, so that's a little bit off, but really enjoy this project. And did the stars here, you could see. Just, I love it, and that's my form of patriotism. And of course, the head came out real nice, right? It looks really good. I didn't do it to a full mirror polish, but that's darn near close, right? And I'm calling this Captain America. And Brian Ohare, thanks so much for this one, because this one is really special to me. Just now when I mentioned Captain America, it made me remember my childhood days of growing up with comic books. You remember comic books back especially in the 70s. I thought that was kind of the 60s, 70s, the golden age of comics, and they had so many great, superheroes and things like that, and that you could read. You go to the barbershop and you would read some comic books, but I would always think how it evolved, Superman was one of those comics that was started off, and, he was a guy that came from a planet that had higher gravity, so he was stronger when he came here, which everything made sense, He could leap tall buildings in a single bound, which meant he could jump, because he was stronger, because, the gravity. Then what happened? Like, all of a sudden he was able to fly, like hover around, and, and everything started to change, And as a kid, you would be reading these things, you would say, how come he can do that? Or, but I always liked the vulnerabilities of certain superheroes or comic book characters. Like, remember like Submariner? He was a guy... He was like the Prince of Atlantis, that guy underwater. He could command all sea life, but... when he got stuck on land, he was just like a regular guy, and he's like, I need some water, and he would always like kind of look for some water there. He would go into a restaurant, be a lobster tank, and now he was in charge. Just some of the characters were funny, weren't they? I miss those days. They had some great comic books back then, great stories, and made sense. And it just got a little wacky, Powers got a little bit out of hand, and if it didn't make sense to me, I couldn't buy it. I wasn't buying it. Even as a kid, I'm like, yeah, I ain't buying it. Anyway, thanks very much for tuning in. Hope you have a nice day. Take care now. Bye-bye.